Do you have any advice other than praying for rain for food plotters out there who are frustrated?
If you're doing something that you can protect your soil, you're going to be more drought tolerant, right?
Yeah.
If you're armoring your soil with something versus bare dirt sitting out there, you're going to be better off. That's what you can do. Can you do that right this second? No, it's too late. You can plan for that for fall and for spring again, but at this time, where we're at right now today, what can you do? You can pray for rain.
Would you say this is a good example of to not do aggressive tillage?
Exactly. Conventional farming and tilling, we all know it works. It's been done for how many years? It works, okay? We all understand that. I think you're just more susceptible to drought when you're exposing that soil versus not. So like the guys who are no-till drilling right now through a thatch layer, the guys who are broadcasting and roller crimping over that seed, protecting it, like I mentioned, that armor, you're a step ahead. And especially if you're doing that practice for 3 or 4 years, you've built up some good soil and you have moisture in the soil remaining longer than, some of the dirt roads we're walking down today, the trails like those, just a dust cloud. It's hard to grow stuff in that. And you're more susceptible to drought that way.
Lights, camera, follow the trail. Ready to shoot.
If you know where a deer's bedding and you know where he's eating, that deer should be dead.
Camera.
If you're passive on a deer, what you're doing is you're teaching them.
I've got 30 bucks in the Michigan record book. Everyone but one has had at least one previous wound on his body. Some had as many as 4.
The Exodus Podcast,
your source for all things whitetail.
We are in beautiful Thompsonville, Michigan. Is this considered Thompsonville here?
It is.
And you are a Michigan native, so we're here. We're in the presence of some of Michigan's greatest.
It's been a great day. I'm not sure who she is, but I like her.
Yeah. We have a lot of guests. We have a huge audience. A huge audience.
Yeah.
A huge audience. Lots of claps, lot of applause. Live audience.
What's your name?
Kate.
Kate.
We have Kate. White Claw Kate. Having fun here at the Total Archery Challange. How's it going, Jared?
Good, Jake. How are you today?
It's been good. Today's been great. Michigan's been fun. Michigan's been fun, and we've talked to a lot of different people that have bought our cameras in the past, that have stopped by the booth, a lot of people that listen to the podcasts. And how many Michigan podcasters are here right now? Every one of them?
They're all right over there. Yeah, I think I counted at least 4 of us.
Yeah, at least
At least four. At least 4.
We have at least 4 here. And
Kate is still out in the audience entertaining the guests.
I wish I had multiple camera angles right now. And
Lucas might want to get that on video.
And so this is a little different than the Zoom call podcast. I will say this. There's an additional dynamic. But thanks for sitting down with us. I know it's kind of a busy time here.
No, you're good. You mentioned that earlier. I'm like, yeah, we should definitely do one. We're all here. We're having a good time. This show has really grown. Or I guess it's not a show. The event. It's really grown.
They do an excellent job. I went to my first one, I think in Seven Springs, Pennsylvania. I think it was 2018.
Okay.
Maybe 2017 even. I think it was 2017. And then I went to Snowbird in Utah in 2018. I actually got to shoot that course.
How was that?
It was really fun.
I want to go out west at one. Big Sky or Utah.
Yeah. Flew into Salt Lake.
Man.
Shot. It was really nice. I was hoping to shoot this weekend. I don't know if we're going to get the opportunity, but how'd you shoot?
I shot pretty good.
High stakes bet. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So the other day I went on one of these guys' podcasts, one of the Michiganders out here, and he asked me what my confidence level was. I haven't shot since November.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm feeling pretty good, 8 out of 10. I think I'm going to lose 1 arrow. And my last TAC event was at Boyne, so at least 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I grabbed the old no cam off the barn hook. Dusty.
Yeah.
But I lost 1 arrow yesterday at a 141-yard moose.
On the moose, so Sitka course.
And then I pulled out an insert today in the stake of a target. It got in the target, and I couldn't get it out, so the insert popped out. So I guess I'm down 1 a day, and I shot 3 courses. So I'm happy with it, man.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How tough was the course?
I mean,
the course is.
For guys like me who normally shoot 30, 40, 50, 60 yards flat in my yard,
yeah,
and then go out hunting, the first one this morning was 83 yards down a hill at a whitetail. I hit the spine.
The typical whitetail shot, right?
Yeah, like I hit the spine. I was happy with hitting the target. I think they're pretty tough. And then the rigorous exercise up and down the hills,
Get the heart rate up a little bit.
Yeah,
A little
and-
trash talking, get the heart rate up even a little higher.
Oh gosh, man. Yeah, and I try to exercise, so I was doing better than some of the guys in our group. But at the same time, it's work.
Yeah.
These guys who put this whole thing together, they're probably just laughing.
Oh,
when
yeah.
they set this course up.
I'm sure they love the Midwest states here.
Oh, yeah.
But no, man,
It was fun.
did you torture those arrows, the MMTs?
Oh, I tortured your MMTs.
you put them
Yeah.
through the paces?
Oh yeah. Today, I mean, I put them through some deer last year in the dirt.
Darn right.
Broke a leg with them.
Uh-huh.
All good. But today they got tested, buddy. I'm not sure who else is shooting them out here besides me, but I put them to the test.
That's good. That's what they're made for. And like talking to different people here, the guys that have the real long slider, and I feel like, for lack of better terms, they train for this. They train for this event and this shoot, and they're pretty darn good. I'm sure. Like
Yeah.
even down to the practice range, they have a bear like 124 yards way up this hill.
Yep.
You guys got flinging arrows up there. I think it's cool. A lot of people don't have the opportunity, I'm sure, to really stretch out their shooting. Most guys shoot in their backyard. What's that? 25, 30 yards, 40 yards, maybe tops.
Yeah.
And so it gives them an opportunity to really stretch things out. But, well, yeah, man. How was?
I mean, I can tell you where I put those arrows.
Yeah, tell me that. I want to hear the rigorous test you've put them through.
So when you came out with arrows, I obviously wanted some. I think I told you guys my arrow weight of what I was currently shooting, which was like 530, 525 altogether. And when I got my arrows, I didn't change a pin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how heavy they are, right?
Yeah.
I think if you're up here, you might want something a little flat, a little lighter, a little flat
yeah.
shooting than that for target archery. And I don't do this more than once a year.
Yeah.
So I brought them up. Today and yesterday, I put them into a pine tree at like 92 yards. Put them in the dirt multiple times. I put them into arrow stakes. And then the most impressive one, today there was a wolf or a coyote or whatever at like 86 yards in the timber. And you could see this branch just looming, 50 yards out. Well, I have a pretty good arc.
Sure.
Shooting like 60 pounds, not shooting heavy poundage. And two guys in front of me hit the branch. I'm like, here we go. I got down, I kneeled to try to avoid it. I shot up. That arrow hit the branch on the side of the shaft, which normally arrows explode. That thing just shot right down into the dirt. I pulled it up. I shot it the rest of the day.
That's great.
So into a tree, into the dirt, into the stake of a target, and then sideways shaft on a branch. I didn't realize they were that indestructible. God's honest truth. I didn't realize they were that tough.
Yeah, the MMTs are really durable. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like the bow is the shootability of that bow is amazing. Like, okay, what does that mean? And then I think that same thought crosses over when we say the arrow's durable. It is statistically the materials that it's made with, how it's made. It is an extremely durable arrow. But I'm not the arrow guy at the office, so I don't want to make any claims. So I'm going to make my uninformed claim. I think it's the toughest arrow out there.
Well, judging by the guys I shot with today, whose arrows did the same thing as mine and didn't make it through, I'm pretty happy with it.
Good, man.
I'm not just saying that. I put it through the ringer and very impressed. It shot great. 140 yards. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Very good.
I'm happy with them.
How are you surviving the drought? Well, and I'll premise this with, I was complaining. It's all about frame of reference. I was complaining about the drought in Illinois. And on the drive up here, I'm like, wow, I think it's even worse up here than where we're at. And I think that's probably partially with the soil, but it is dry as heck.
So we haven't had much rain at all ever since like the first week in May. And what's the date today? The 10th maybe? Or
June 10th.
Yeah, so it's been 5 weeks or so without rain. And it's bad. Like my grass at home dries out in August. It's dried right now.
Yeah.
Like it's been terrible. Walking up here, like my pants just get covered in dust. It looks like you're walking in a dust cloud when you're just walking down the trail.
Yeah.
It's super dry. Not good for
food plots.
One, owning a food plot company. Two, food plots. I'm hoping we get some rain tonight or tomorrow. And it's terrible. It's spring food plots or summer food plots. You take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
More so than the fall, I think. But it's bad. I mean, we can't buy rain. I mean, you're talking, give me something, even some morning dew.
Right.
There's nothing.
That's when you know it's really bad. And so for anyone that is, do you have any advice other than praying for rain for food plotters out there who are frustrated?
Good. That's a good question. So shameless plug. If you're doing something that you can protect your soil,
Yeah.
you're gonna be more drought tolerant, right?
Yeah.
If you're armoring your soil with something versus bare dirt sitting out there, you're
Yep.
gonna be better off.
Yep.
That's what you can do. Can you do that right this second? No, it's too late. You can plan for that for fall and for spring again, but at this time, where we're at right now today, what can you do? You can pray for rain.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or you can irrigate.
Yeah.
Some guys are irrigating.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, you can only do what you can. And then,
Right.
Would you say this is a good example of to not do aggressive tillage?
Exactly. Conventional farming and tilling, we all know it works. It's been done for how many years? Pulling a plow behind a horse. Like,
Yep.
it works, okay? We all understand that. I think you're just more susceptible to drought when you're exposing that soil versus not. So, like the guys who are no-till drilling right now through a thatch layer, the guys who are broadcasting and roller crimping over that seed, protecting it, like I mentioned, that armor, you're a step ahead. And especially if you're doing that practice for 3 or 4 years, you've built up some good soil, and you have moisture in the soil remaining longer than, some of the dirt roads we're walking down today, the trails like those, just a dust cloud.
Yeah.
It's hard to grow stuff in that. And you're more susceptible to drought that way.
Yeah.
It works, but you need rain.
Yeah, there's a give and take in anything.
Correct.
And I think these times really illustrate that.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys right now that are, including myself, wishing we had more rain, and just, it catches you off guard. You spend the time, you spend the money, spraying your plots, tilling them up, whatever. The trip up north, I went up twice that week to make sure I could plant and get it done. And we got rain that night. It hasn't rained since.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm going to see tomorrow when I go back up there, but it really illustrates it right now, and hopefully people are paying attention and figuring out, how do I avoid this in the future?
So let's say someone planted a food plot right now and it has failed.
Yep.
What's the next step? Retry and hope for more rain, wait for fall plots, try to get some sort of cover on the soil throughout the summer. I mean, what would you suggest?
Yes, and yes. I'm with all those. A lot of guys didn't even plant their summer plots till now. I know guys who are like, "You're up shooting bows, shouldn't you be planting?" I'm like, "Well, I did plant the first chance of rain, hoping to get more." Where a lot of guys waited. If you have a spot up north 3 hours away, you do what you do. But if you're back at home, a lot of guys are putting in their seed right now, knowing this tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday are going to rain. That's one thing you could do. Other than that, I mean, hold tight till fall.
Mm-hmm.
Hold tight till August. Make sure, spraying some of the competition out or getting ready. But really, it's tough right now.
It is.
Just because of the past month of history of weather, I'm not telling anybody to go run out and buy seed and put it in the ground. Like, just, hold a little bit tight. We're in a drought. Fall will be hopefully a lot better.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. Little pop-up storm.
Nice.
I'm watching the radar, and then it's like, all right, well, okay. I think the forecast we're gonna get, it was supposed to be a decent amount of rain. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go run out. I'm gonna go get this done real quick, and then rain just broke up all the way around us, and so it's sat there since. I think we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, but it's just a gamble.
Did you plant yet?
I planted some stuff. Yeah.
Did you?
I planted 2,000 trees in this drought.
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
I thought you planted them last year.
No, this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
you're really you want rain more than I do.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. It's all relative. I look up here and it's like, man, it's pretty rough up here. But
yeah, it's dry.
It's a lot of the stuff is actually doing better than I anticipated by far.
Good.
I started mulching a lot more
Hey,
stuff.
Richard's help.
Richard did help with everything.
Yeah, that's why it's looking so great, right?
You're darn right. He's got the green thumb.
Yeah,
but it's actually doing a lot better than what I anticipated. We have better soil. I think that's a big part of it. And then
a huge part of it.
Definitely have done the 250 gallon drum of water, and then I've just used gravity, and I've just used a hose, and I've watered the conifers, and then I've tried to touch some stuff that is alive and try to keep it alive. But a lot of the really little stuff is just toast.
Is it?
Yeah. And I was talking to the NRCS and like, well, maybe the roots are there and they'll come back next year. And I tubed all of them too. So I think that's another thing to bring up, that it's reducing more stress. Like there's not going to be browse pressure and stressing the plants. And this is all very new to me. I'm not here to preach to anyone.
Sure.
Because I'm very much in the learning phase, and I'm fully accepting that. But yeah.
That's why I like you. Yep. Yeah. So, and I think you're right. The NRCS, with their comment about how the first year, trees are, or even the first couple of years, trees are really trying to establish below ground versus above ground. So yeah, I hope and pray that that's what's going on for you. And trees are tough. Trees are tough.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you went through the proper precautions and the protection, which is going to pay off.
Yeah, way more work, way more time than probably what I allotted. But I don't know. They're in the ground. You got to take care of them.
Yeah. How often are you watering?
So the fruit trees I was watering every week, and I actually listened to Chasing Giants with Don and Terry, and they said a big mistake is people water them too often. And he said water them twice a month and douse them.
Yep.
And so those guys they have more experience than me. I'm gonna listen to them. So that's I'm gonna do twice a month and do a little bit less. And actually, in reality, it'll be the same amount, but I'm just gonna rotate. Okay, this chunk, this chunk, this chunk.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm growing some oak seedlings from acorns in my basement right now.
Oh, nice.
And they run out of water all the time. It can be a week, and they're fine.
Yeah.
So if you think about it to that point, they can go a lot longer than we think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. Let those roots go down. And then I guess as far as it's June, and maybe you guys are thinking, this spring flew by for me, like between work travel and everything else. And so they're thinking, what can I be doing right now? People are getting excited for deer season, rightfully so. I know I am, and I'm probably just projecting my excitement onto other people. But what can you do in June and July? You're the Habitat podcast host.
Yep.
So what can someone like me do other than trying to keep stuff alive?
Sure. Great question. What I would focus on right now is either water holes. Water's huge right now. You go put in a water hole. That's a great project.
If you can get through the concrete of soil.
Yeah, you may have to get some equipment. That's always something you can do. I focus a lot on getting my mock scrape stuff going.
Sure.
Getting it together.
Yeah.
Get my cameras ready. The batteries all swapped out. Get the solar panels from you guys. Get them up. Get the mock scrapes going. I try to get them up by, July, end of July. You can even go after that. That's fine. But like in Ohio, we just put ours out last weekend in Ohio. So just starting to make that social hub for those deer. Give them longer to get used to it.
Agreed.
I don't know if you call that habitat or not. It's
very
instrumental in
deer-centric,
all of my plants.
Yeah.
All of my plants.
2 questions on that. First one, do you think water holes are overrated, underrated, properly rated?
Underrated.
You think they're
underrated?
I agree. I think a lot of people think it's dumb. Like I really do think they're like a water hole.
Sometimes
understand.
they look kind of dumb when you just put that plastic tub in the ground or the kiddie pool. And I get that. I like an aesthetically pleasing surrounding when I'm out in the tree. I don't want a purple kiddie pool sitting there full of water, but underrated. I think that if you do it right and you make it look natural just for you and the deer, they don't care as much, but they're very, you'll get everything on your property on that camera.
Yeah.
Everything goes there. So my buddy, he grabbed a big satellite, those big old satellite dishes, 6 foot diameter, maybe even 8 foot.
That's a good idea.
He grabbed it, picture like a big one, like a smiley face, or whatever. He just set it on the ground and kind of buried it in the dirt with his tractor. It works perfect.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Trash. Somebody's trash.
Yeah. And water holes are expensive. Like I have a couple of the earth ponds that look.
Those are nice.
They're aesthetically very pleasing. They're expensive too.
Yeah.
But that's a really resourceful way, and most of those are like a tan or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think however you can get it done. You can, I was talking to Giannis from Meat Eater, and he put in one with the tarp, laid the tarp down like a pool liner.
Yep.
Filled it over with dirt. However you can get it done. Use whatever resources you have, but at the same time, like the way I see it, we have to have everything on our parcel that your neighbors have and more. So I want to be the outlier. I want to be the example property.
Mm-hmm.
So am I going to have a water hole? You betcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And for the amount of money we spend, the amount of time we spend, that's a pretty easy thing to do, to implement that most people aren't going to do. And I've put them in, and one mistake I found I've talked about on here. So I put one where I wanted to direct deer more than what they probably naturally wanted to do. And so I put in
out of the way, kind of trying to pull
just
them.
a little bit more on the back side of something, and
Okay.
and there's some things I can do to still encourage that movement, but they haven't used it as much as I anticipated. I put in the 300 gallon one with equipment and everything.
Wow.
And I was like, man, that's a regret of mine. So I think I should have put it in ultimately a better spot, because I've put in my fair share of water holes, and the ones where they're already using and enhancing that movement, they do use it all of the time. But
Where did you put that? Why do you think it's failing? Or not failing, but
Yeah.
not getting the use that you want?
yeah, so it's on a big hill. It's on the top of the hill. There's a food plot up here. It's kind of on the back side of it, and then on this knob there's bedding, but it's pretty steep terrain. And part of the reason I put it there was it'd be easier to access for deer hunting.
Sure.
That was a big part of it. And I
Sure.
put it on the back side so neighbors couldn't see it.
Okay.
That was another thing. In reality, I could have put it in a better spot, but I wouldn't have been able to hunt over it. In reality, well, maybe that would have been better. But I think those are the biggest things.
Gotcha.
It's just there was no defined trail there. I've cut one in. It's not in the right spot.
Gotcha.
But I learned.
Yes.
I learned,
Yes.
and
you can move it.
Yeah, and I put it in a different one. It'll be hard to move, but I can move it.
You're paying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I put other ones where it's just it makes a lot more sense, and the deer absolutely hammer it.
Yeah. It's hard to change a deer's natural path. It's not impossible, but it's hard to do, to really manipulate. If they don't want to be in an area, there's a reason for it, whether we know that or not. So yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. As far as, I guess, two more questions on that.
Sure. No. That's why we're doing it.
Give me like your perfect location for a water hole, and maybe you walk through an example where it worked really well, or speak in generalities of something that's like, oh yeah, I can relate to that to the parcel I hunt.
Great question. I can cover all that based on personal experience.
Sure, yeah.
I've made plenty of mistakes. So the 15 acres that I just sold, hunted that for 6 years. I put in multiple water holes. 2 that are coming to mind. One worked a bunch, 1 0.
Why didn't the one with the 0 work?
So they were what I think is important for both was that they're in cover, right? They're not out, in this field by the road.
Yep.
They're in pretty good cover. One of them, I kind of tucked against this brush. I cut this hole in this brush. I planted a little micro food plot in there. I had some trails going in and out, and I tucked it kind of in the edge, where it was kind of surrounded by brush on 3 sides. So there's one way in.
Sure.
The other one, it was more of a defined food plot trail that I had made, and I put it out of the cover, out of the bushes, if you will, a little bit more into the food plot.
Mm-hmm. And they use that one more?
Way more.
Yeah. And
way more.
I would say the one that doesn't work too, it's probably tighter in there than what they want.
You said it with one word.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Tighter.
That's exactly. I feel like it needs to be tight. You need to be in the cover, at least for the deer we're trying to shoot. And then just that other one works so good. And they're 50 or 60 yards apart.
Mm-hmm.
So those were 1 fail, 1 win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was your Tractor Supply tub.
Yeah, I
buried in
bought
the
some of
ground,
those. Yeah, those work really well. And then I was going to ask on the mock scrapes that you're putting up in the summer, break down that location for someone that maybe hasn't put one out before, and they've heard about it, they've thought about it. Maybe there's already some scrapes on the farm, and like, that's good enough. I want to hear why they should put one up and where.
Sure. Back to your failed water hole, if you will, for lack of a better term. On the deer's travel route, within, a threshold. I don't go way off in left field and put one down. For the same reason I think that the water hole's probably not getting hit. If that's way off in left field, yeah, they don't like it over there already for some reason we may or may not know. Not going to go over there. So I've already identified through scouting where they're moving through. I'm just trying to enhance and direct and pull them through at the right time when I'm there. That being said, I'll have a mock scrape at every tree stand location. Because I'm hunting in those same areas where they're traveling, right?
Once again,
I'm not
enhancing the spot.
Not off in left field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and they don't all work, but if I would urge everybody to try it and then get better at it over time.
Sure.
It's one of the top things that I do in mine. And the way I set it up, I'll scrape out a circle from like us to Richard over there, like a car hood, like gigantic,
very visible.
You cannot miss it.
Mm-hmm.
You see it from space, right? And it's
probably
huge.
nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. And you could, it's aromatic, all that dirt, visual, and then I will also. I know guys use vines, guys use ropes. I stick with, I'll find an oak tree. I'll cut off a live oak branch.
Yep.
And I'll tie that and let that dangle there. And I just feel like that's more natural. I feel like there's more wicking material up there to grab scent, all those leaves, all those branches. Again, other stuff works more than one way to skin this cat. That's just what I do. That'll hold those leaves for a long time.
Yeah, a very long time.
And then what I've actually added recently, I'll throw one of those Magnum drippers up there and then fill it with, I'm not in cahoots with these guys at all, but I've used it for years, a buck fever synthetic product.
No free promos on here. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I've heard of
Get rid of that. Get rid of that.
I've heard good things about
Well,
that.
yeah, and it's expensive too. And but that's how I do it. And then it drips, and then you use the forehead gland up top. There's other products too out there. My buddy Jay Gregory, he likes that Black Widow stuff. Whatever. There's stuff out there, right?
Yep.
Forehead gland and synthetic scent in the scrape.
Uh-huh.
And then sit back and I don't touch it again.
Let it do its thing.
Yep. Deer take it over, or they won't. Yeah. And that's that.
I've tried the like the fake dirt stuff.
Yeah.
I had some buddies that swear by that, and I used it, and I don't know if it made a difference. This is a video, and hopefully maybe someone will do this.
I've tried that.
This is something that I've always
when
wanted
you can
to do.
sell dirt, you know you're doing something right.
It smells like it should. I'll just say that. And all right, when it's October and I'm struggling, man. Anything goes. Anything.
What's that,
will
rub
give me...
slime? Remember the rub slime?
Yeah. There's this video idea that I've had for a long time. Is I wanted to do a split test of a bunch of different things. Try the rope, try a vine, try the cuttings of different. So like I know some guys like the conifer or like some sort of pine, and then try a hardwood. I want to do all that.
They hit cedar all the time.
And then document which one did the best.
I think it's location based too.
Yeah. Well, I just want to do it for where I'm at and just have some form of data.
Yeah.
And I think what we would probably see is that they're probably all within a variance of, I'm just guessing, like between 10 and 15%. I'm guessing.
In your area, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think
ropes work by you.
Yeah.
Where
I've
by
never
me,
used
they
it.
don't work.
They do not work.
Not well.
These darn Michigan deer are too hard to kill.
Dude, they're
Heard
nuts.
it all weekend.
They're nuts. They're nuts. I'm telling you. The vines that'll work up here. The ropes haven't had luck, and the oak branches. Every branch on the side of every cornfield between here and Ohio is scraped under. Yeah,
right.
So that's kind of what I just take after Mother Nature.
Yeah. And then are you putting cameras on most of these mock scrapes?
Yeah, that's kind of how I hunt. I don't get after it too hard right off the bat in October. I'll have them set up, and I'll just wait for my daylight opportunities, and then I'll strike. 3 kids at home and multiple
plenty of
businesses at work and
responsibilities.
everything. Yeah, so I try to do less is more with that whole thing, and it's just waiting for the daylight picture, and the scrape's a great place to put it.
Yeah.
Most likely the deer's gonna walk in there and check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Great inventory.
Yep.
So those are some really great summer things to have in mind, and I think those two things to me, if anyone was they didn't want to spend a bunch of money, they didn't want to spend a bunch of time, I think those two are by far the biggest impact, lowest amount of work and time and money and all.
Agree. Very efficient.
Yeah, for sure. What projects are you? So you have the 70. You have the up north piece. What projects are you working on right now?
So I'm going up there. I fired my first forester and logger.
All right, we got to talk about that.
So
that process.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't any bad blood. It's just nothing was happening.
Oh, they just didn't start the project.
So we had it marked as soon as we could, or we had it walked. I'm sorry. I met with a forester last year. I had it walked. I walked it with him. I learned a ton. I urge anybody, if you can walk your woods with a forester, go do it. It's a great time for
learning experience.
Nerds like me. Yeah, I love it. So then it was like, okay, yeah, we'll get the trees marked this fall, maybe next spring, and we'll get you cut soon. I'm like,
wait, this is the forester that was saying this?
The forester.
Okay,
and the forester looks out for you on your behalf and hires the loggers, manages the whole job, makes sure everything's copacetic when they leave, and everybody's happy.
And they get a commission on it.
Correct. 14 or 15%. And just nothing was happening. And I know everybody's busy. I know COVID screwed a lot of stuff up. I know there's maybe not a lot of processors in that area up there.
Was this a state or private forester?
This was a consulting forester, so private.
Yep.
And I had a personal referral from a guy, so I knew this was a good company. But we sat on it for 2 falls and hunted, nothing getting done. and it's a big park-like setting in those woods right now. And to me,
That's not what you want.
it's screaming in my head every minute I'm sitting in there. Just
You're
like,
just looking at it.
oh yeah, yeah, and
Yep.
it's gorgeous, and it's So I've been on them all spring this year. Yeah, we'll get it March when somebody wants to come cut it. Like, when's that gonna be? So you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Finally, another buddy of mine, Matt, he's like, you should call this guy. Check it out. You want to wait for 3 more years to get this cut or what? I'm like, no. So another guy, 3.5 hours away,
Wow.
drives up, walks. He goes, yeah, we'll do it this year.
Uh-huh.
You have good value in here. He goes, why didn't they cut it last year? I'm like, I don't know. He's like,
And meanwhile, timber prices are very dynamic.
they dropped.
That's
Since
what I was
last
getting.
year.
That's what I was getting at. Yep.
Like, I asked him, I go,
What percentage?
What were
yeah.
they last year? He goes, 9 out of 10. I go, how about now? He's like, 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
He's like, you lost significant money by waiting.
Yep.
And nothing I could do about that, but looking back, it kind of irks me. But this guy's like, there's still good value in here. I'll have it cut by January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking sold, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So we signed him on. I called the other guy. He's like, that's okay. We got more work that we can handle. We're out.
Sure.
So it was all fine. But you got to find somebody who's willing to work for you and willing to get the job done. I'd love timber value, and maybe that first guy was waiting for a better commission for the market to go back up.
Mm-hmm.
This and that. I want deer habitat now.
That's not your goal at the end of the day. Your goal ultimately is to improve the parcel.
Correct. Correct.
To
Great.
what you want. Yeah. To what you want.
And if you're going to cut for timber every 8 to 10 years, if I could cut now, I restarted that 8 to 10 year clock.
Sure.
Right. So in 2031, I'll cut again. Versus if I wait 3 more years, it's just, I wanted it done. I'm a little impatient with that. So
That's
where I'm at with
more
that.
patient than most on that.
Yeah.
I had a thought, and it has now exceeded my brain here. We talked about this parcel, and it's in a conservation easement, correct?
Correct.
And I
Yes.
remember when we recorded on that for the land podcast, there were some people
Yes.
like, that was dumb. You can't do anything with it. So right there is a misconception to point out that
For sure.
you are able to do a lot of different things on that piece.
For sure. They've been awesome. The conservancy that has the easement that we purchased the property from, very laid back, very awesome. They check the property once a year. I'm double checking stuff with them right now, everything I do. And they're like, this is great. Thanks for reaching out. Nobody ever calls us. I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe I don't have to call you. And I already had like a habitat plan that I made submitted to them before we even bid on the property. So I already know I'm clear to do a lot of stuff. It's been very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go in there and take a bunch of trees out this fall. And it's all part of the plan. They're okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put in food plots. They're okay with it. Yeah, so I think it's just a misconception. I
For
mean,
sure.
I get the point where you don't want anybody telling you what to do on your own ground that you paid for. I fully understand that, fully support that.
But you're able to get at a much larger discount.
$100,000 less for the property in that area. And
when your
our
highest
goals are the same.
Yeah, your highest and best use is to enjoy it and deer hunt it.
Yeah. And not develop it.
Exactly.
And that's what they want too.
Yeah.
They want to protect erosion. They want to protect the watershed. They don't want to develop it. They want to keep it a pristine northern woodland. I'm like, yes, 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 and yes.
Deal, yeah.
So that's where we're at with that. Even our builder up there, we were building a cabin. They cut a little bit too many trees for the for the view, and I called the guy and apologized and told him, and nothing. So they're easy to work with. They just don't want. I think we have more in common than what most people think. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think that's a common theme for sure.
Yeah.
Across like all biologists and everything else. Like I think most of them respect where we're coming from is the crazy dumb deer hunters.
Yeah.
And where they're at from their perspective too.
Yep.
Way more common ground. Well, anything else? I don't know how much you want to talk about, but the other piece you are moving on from. I don't know if we can wait to talk about it or.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I guess. Well, back to the 70 real quick. I'm going up there this week. I'm gonna go in there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna paint a bunch of the food plot areas that they're gonna, when they're in there, cut all the trees down.
Mm-hmm.
So they're select cutting it first, then they're gonna leave. When they're done, I'm like, hey, can you cut these half-acre parcels here, here, and here? These areas, like, sure, just go up there and mark them. So I have to go do that. That's pretty much my project this week up there. It's gonna take a while, but it's kind of fun. The piece I just sold last Friday, that was my original baby,
Which we've talked about.
my first child.
We talked about on the
Yep.
other podcast, like
Yeah.
start and now to finish, which is kind of cool.
Yep. And now I decided to do a 1031 exchange, tax deferment there, and I am in the market for the next piece. And
Anyone out there?
and I have like 38 days. So if anybody else
No
is out there who has
no pressure.
a 40-acre parcel for sale, give Jared a call or give Jake a call, and he'll call me.
Yeah, perfect.
Because literally I have 38 days or I have to pay the government money, and I'd rather not pay the government money.
I can't blame you. I can't blame you.
So-
What was so you did a lot of work on that piece. What was the biggest impact project you did on that? Because I know you did a
impact.
lot.
Yeah, I would say a combination between the cutting, whether it was a TSI we did in the back, I had loggers there too, and the hinge cutting for cover.
Mm-hmm.
Cover is king in Michigan with our crazy deer. You've heard me say that probably too many times. And like opening the canopy, that's always number one. I don't care which property you're on, that's number one. And then the food, high quality food plots that can withstand browse. I planted some diverse mix of ours next to a clover mix that I had for years. Last fall, I watched a deer walk straight across that clover to diversity
Interesting.
every time. It's truly eye-opening. So I think high quality soil and food, and then the cover were my two biggest. I just got chestnuts, I just got apples, so I didn't really get to enjoy the fruits of that labor yet. But the new owner does, and so I really can't talk much on that. But those would be my two.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so you've done a lot of habitat podcasts with guests.
Mm-hmm.
What's been one of the biggest findings or learnings from that out of all of the ones you did? And I know that's really hard to ask because as a host myself, I'm learning all the time. I'm so thankful for that.
Well, can you even answer that question too? Because I think that we talk about this stuff so much that it all goes back here in the back of your brain.
Yeah. And
then you start to understand and know more than you did before, the week before, or the year before, and it just kind of becomes second nature. There's so many things. Yeah. Opening the canopy. I'll say it again. That's huge. Yeah. How important that is.
I would say mine. I think this isn't really a lesson, but I think sometimes we just overcomplicate things.
Sure.
You talk to a lot of these guys, and I think it's really interesting. Everyone has their different perspectives. Everyone has their own twist to things. But when you really look at it objectively, you really boil it down, all the key pillars are almost all the same. I'm talking from deer hunting tactics and strategies. I'm talking from the habitat perspective, and then like a land bind thing too. Like all of these things, everyone has their different twists. Everyone has found these different things that work better for them. But at the end of the day, the core three pillars of whatever category are almost all the same.
I love that answer. That's why I reverted back to you. Honestly, like you said, there's more than one way to skin the cat.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, skin the cat. Just
to do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
And I don't care, paralysis by analysis, sit there all day. Get started. Get moving. Because as soon as you start moving and getting the plan done, whatever it is, your plan, our plan, whoever's planning, whatever it is, get through it. Get the ball rolling. I'd say that's probably one of the bigger things too. I think we do a lot of plans for folks, and sometimes I wonder if
they implement it.
If they implement it or not, or how far along they are. And I still think that folks are overwhelmed by a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Where, to your comment, if I didn't buy the first piece of property, I'd still be wishing I did. Yeah. Still be sitting there going, oh man, I wish I'd have bought that.
Man, these prices gone up a lot.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, where's the next one? Let's dance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess just get into it.
How hard was it to sell your first piece?
Easy.
Okay.
Easy for
no, like for you.
Oh, no,
because that was
because
you put so much work into A, being in position to buy it, and then B, all the work you did on it over the years, the memories you have on it.
I'm still not okay with it.
That's fair.
I thought you meant like how fast it is. So it's sold quick.
Yeah.
But I planted those apple trees with my girls. They were this tall.
Uh-huh.
And I have the same picture when they're 8 this tall with apples. Like, that's real stuff to me. That's amazing. And all those fruit trees, the chestnuts, beautiful last year, finally showing up. All the apples finally showing up. I know where to hunt. I know how to get in there. I've killed some nice deer there. And it's like, this thing is turnkey.
Yeah.
And I want to start over.
But the process is addicting.
Okay, that's why I want to start over.
Exactly.
Because I can't just sit there and be turnkey. Yeah. I'm like, my brain is spinning for the next, what can I do? I have it all done there. I don't have any more room to plant fruit trees. The food plots are the size they need to be. Yeah. The woods have been cut. My neighbors are encroaching on my sides. Like they know where the property's at. So it's like I'm ready for the blank slate again and just the process. You're right. It's It's all we think about and talk about, obviously with the podcast. But
Yeah.
it's my passion for sure.
Yeah. I think it's funny how
I'm still sad about it though.
I mean,
I am.
I get it. I think it's funny how the industry's kind of, I shouldn't say industry, but how sometimes things are really polarizing. Like people that have land and then people who don't are like, well, that's so boring. You just go and you go hunt the same place, all
True.
the time. Okay. I understand that perspective. And those guys like to go to a bunch of different places.
Sure.
But
I
it's
know
just
some of those guys.
It's just a long-term difference because you're addicted to the process of improving it and learning. And it's the same type of thing, except it's on a different coin. Once again, more things in common than what people realize.
Correct.
And it's like,
Correct.
I don't know. What do you say? Because I think this is my opinion again. Is like somewhat land ownership is a little demonized now. It's kind of anti-cool.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
Public land's cool.
you're
right
wearing Velcro sneakers. It's kind of what it feels like as a landowner.
What's wrong with us?
Yeah.
No, I hear you. Yeah. No, you're right. It's
What do you think about that?
they haven't owned land.
Uh-huh.
The people who are saying they have not owned land.
And you just think that process is so rewarding, and this is like one of those
100%.
things.
Nobody in my family owned an acre. You know, like never had family property to go on. I know people who have beautiful family spots that they get to go to and enjoy and the legacy. I want that for my family.
That's cool.
And want my kids to grow up doing that. And maybe it's because something I didn't have, which is why I wanted it so bad.
Mhm.
I don't know. But
I think that's a big part of it for most people, myself
probably,
included.
yeah. And I just think that people who are demonizing it, I just go hunt public for free. That's great too. There's a lot of skill set that takes to do that. I think once you own the land and you get the gratification that I've experienced, I'm gonna always own land.
Yeah.
Like it's 100%.
Uh-huh.
I mean, no questioning me now.
Yeah. And then, all right, so then the next level of that is there's also like the movement of people saying the people that buy land is making it harder for new people to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not well read enough to make a really good argument, but to me that's kind of a logical fallacy because it's going to inherently get harder no matter what. If you do own it or you don't own it, and it's like we all have the same common passion. I think we all can work together more, but I'm gonna get off my high horse here.
Yeah. Well, no, it's something that maybe that's the theme of this podcast, right? Like we both understand that and we can see through whatever these initial fallacies may be or through, the intentions of these people that hate private landowners, right? It's a rich man's game now, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'd rather own it than have Bill Gates own it or somebody else who doesn't hunt
yeah, for sure.
Or whatever. I think
well, and the people that own land are inherently hunting less public land too.
Correct. It's
so
true.
It gives them more room.
True. And I also think that, if you want to go hunt public, and that's awesome. I hunt public up north all the time up here.
Where at exactly? Can you send me some pins? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, I didn't say I was good at it.
Yeah.
It's just, I just think that we should all have the experience that we want to have. And if you want to own land and get out there and do it, do it. If not, don't do it. I'm not going to hate on you for hunting public. I don't know. It's so gratifying to me that I want to keep doing it. I don't see another way around it.
That's cool. Okay. Well, I think one other question I have a couple other, but as a Michigan guy here, 160-inch 3-year-old or 130-inch 6-year-old.
What would I rather shoot?
Yeah.
In Michigan?
Anywhere.
Oh, anywhere.
But that Michigan DNA is in you.
160-inch 3-year-old or 130-inch 6-year-old.
I asked Brian this too when we were at Harrisburg. So I remember what he answered.
In Michigan, I have no problem shooting 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
I have no problem shooting 3-year-olds.
I knew that was the Michigan answer.
I'll shoot a 3-year-old.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and it's not even about the antler size at that point. It's we don't have a lot of them, so I'm okay with
you have
that.
even less 6-year-olds.
100%, yeah.
So would you want to shoot the 6-year-old then?
I think
based off that?
I think the bigger the body that walks in, it's cooler.
Okay.
But I'm not passing a 3-year-old in Michigan. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, for sure. What's been your biggest hunting regret you've ever had?
So far it's not doing more with my dad or probably my grandpa. My grandpa, he passed away a while ago, but he used to take my dad. They used to go out west all the time. They have, muley mounts and antelope and all this stuff. We never went out once together, and I regret not forcing that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they weren't offering it. I should have somehow figured that out. My dad, he's mid-60s now, and I'm gonna have to drag him out. But I'm gonna make sure that we do it. We do deer camp every year. Like we get that. We do duck camp every year in Michigan. We hunt, but I'm talking. I want to go take him to some cool places and do some stuff while he's around. Bring my son along. He's a little older, so I guess that's what I want to make sure I don't regret. Because the grandpa was probably the biggest one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a very wholesome answer.
I didn't expect to say that when you asked me the question. Just came out.
That's speaking from the heart here.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, anything else here? We were talking. One of those deals, like we were talking a lot and catching up, which is really good. It's good to see you.
Yeah,
one of those deals.
You
stay like you. I don't know. It's always good to get a little bit of FaceTime. Obviously, we stay in touch throughout the year, but it was absolutely good to see you.
Yeah.
And anytime where Brian's at or where you're at, we got to record. We
sure.
have to.
No, I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate it, and it's always great seeing you. I always call you when I'm on the road and catch up. What's the land market doing? That's great. And we have an hour conversation or a half hour every time. And I love it. So appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. And looking forward to more in the future.
Yeah. Feel free to plug the podcast and then a drought resistant food plot company that you have.
Appreciate that. Habitat Podcast. We're on all the platforms. We talk about making your land better for deer hunting and other wildlife.
Really good listen.
That's our passion. Yeah, we love it. It's been a well-received podcast. We appreciate everybody who listens into that. We started a food plot company as well. My partner Albert and I, Vitalize seed company. Vitalize means to put energy and strength back into something, aka the soil in our mind here. It's a very nutrient cycling, protect the soil based approach. Get rid of fertilizer and herbicide over time. And what we found out is kind of an accident. Deer freaking hammer it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they eat it all, it doesn't do as well for your soil.
Sure.
They're taking it with them instead of leaving it there. But
they're going to crap in the food plot.
Exactly. So we're starting the process. And if they crap in the food plot, that's free fertilizer too. Yeah. So we're urging people to try to move forward. I think that's the way the world's going to go. And we're on the front side of it. And it's been, again, very well received. We're simplifying it. It's effective. It's pretty inexpensive compared to some other stuff out there. So Vitalize seed there and all over the internet. So thank you for the shameless plugs. Appreciate that.
Anytime, man. Thanks.
Yep. Of course, Jake. Thanks.